Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. We are visiting with Marcy Girdlestone and Jason West, both from Pathway Caring for Children. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, we've loved talking with you in the past and finding out about fostering and the amazing things that Pathway has been doing. But some folks might be new to town. They might be new to our community and would be interested in hearing a little bit about Pathway Caring for Children, who you are, how you got started, what you do. Marcy, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, Pathway is celebrating its 45th year in the Canton-Stark County community. We were founded by Jim and Velma Bridges 45 years ago, and it started as a small group home for a couple of boys. And Jim's vision of a home for every child has blossomed and grown exponentially to the point where we now offer mental health services and post-adoptive services. We have satellite offices in Brook Park and Carrollton, Minerva, and Damascus. We provide school-based mental health services, and we are partnering with several agencies in our community.
Mm-hmm. Velma's still involved, I understand.
She is. She is a part-time trainer on our staff, so she works with the incoming and ongoing foster parent training.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
It is.
Does she ever stop to go, wow, how did we get from there to here?
I would imagine so. It's overwhelming for me. I've been there for 9.5 years,
Wow.
and how far we've come just in 9.5 years that I have been there, I can only imagine what Velma feels.
Your position with Pathway is what?
I am the mental health director.
And Jason, your position is?
Outreach specialist.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to get to you in just a second. I'd like to pick your brain a little bit as mental health director. That's got to be, first of all, challenging. And right now in particular, have you been involved with some of the meetings talking about teen mental health and how we can be helping our teenagers get through teenage angst?
Yeah, we have had several internal meetings just within Pathway about what we can do as an agency to reach out to our hurting community. We've been able to be represented at the recent event that Perry Schools put together. Mm-hmm. There's another event coming up this week, and we feel fortunate to be a resource for families and children, mostly teens though, in the community who need someone to talk to.
Does anything seem to be a row of dots that we can connect, or is this just absolutely confounding everyone?
It seems there doesn't seem to be a link from what I understand. And I think that everyone is looking for answers. We want to understand so that we can prevent and not have these things continue to happen. And it's hard when you aren't getting information from children or their friends. If they're spending a lot of time on social media and parents aren't aware of what's happening on their social media accounts, that's a lack of information that parents have. And spending that quality time with your children and allowing them the opportunity to have a quality relationship with parents is probably where we're going to get the most information.
Mm-hmm. It seems that parents really have to be on their guard, don't they? Always keep those lines of communication open.
Absolutely.
It's fine to tell them about struggles you had when you were their age and how you overcame them, to be able to share some skills like that. But then I think we tend to forget, what if that child does not have parents? So what special things should foster parents be aware of in working with young people and get them over a hump?
You know, it's the same idea of connecting with them, of taking that time to connect individually, one-on-one, and knowing that every teen is going to be comfortable at a different level and communicating in a different way. So some might respond better by going for a ride in the car where they don't have to look you in the eye. And others might want to have an intimate conversation while you're eating dinner. Some, they're going to want to go shoot baskets, take them to the Y and talk to them while they're shooting baskets. So knowing that there's not a one-size-fits-all for every child and really knowing that individual and what's going to work best for them and be available.
And that's good for parents, foster parents, friends, everything.
Absolutely.
Get to know the individual. Where's their sweet spot and their
Definitely.
comfort zone, and where do they tend to open up?
That's exactly right.
How important is the family dinner table these days?
I think it's extremely important. There's so little time to actually connect with each other as a family. And families are very busy and maybe some would argue too busy, too scheduled, and not enough time to actually connect about your day, your challenges, your successes. And taking that time at the dinner table to just do a brief review. And for parents to, like you said, share their struggles. Yeah, I had a bad day. It was kind of stressful and I'm feeling sort of worn down and I need to regroup and be able to go back at it tomorrow. To share that it's normal. It doesn't stop when you turn 18 or 25 or 32.
And where home can be that safe place where everybody can just let their hair down and share, and there will be no judgment. It's just a good place to be able to get built up and encouraged.
That is the ideal.
Yeah, it's well, we're going to get through this as a community because
for
it's
sure.
on everybody's mind, and we're all everyone's hearts. And how interesting that you're here on Valentine's Day, and we are talking about a heart for children.
That's right.
Today. Jason, you do outreach for Pathway.
Yes.
What does that entail?
It entails mostly connecting with the Martin Center on Southeast Canton. Connecting the teens at the center with resources.
What kind of resources?
These resources that are provided through our agency Pathway, whether it be mental health, case management. It could be through that relationship building, just connecting a teen to housing, jobs, job readiness training. A lot of it is meeting those teens where they're at. So
you have a very interesting bridge kind of a job where you're with Pathway and you're at the Martin Center as well. Remind me your position there.
Outreach specialist.
Oh,
and
how convenient.
Yes. And yes, that relationship, it's a close relationship. We've has been building going on 2 years now. And I'm there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Evenings from 5 to 9. While I'm there, I'm just, I come in, dig in, connect with the teens, from helping serve food, helping prep food, showing and modeling how to do that with a lot of the teens too. So it's sort of, I think in the end, it is definitely relationship building and building upon that.
You have an awesome way with the kids there, and I have to thank you from the bottom of my heart with coming up with a jobs grid, that a little chart where they do chores. Cleanup is so easy now. Suddenly when they start grabbing the sponges and wiping off the tables, it's like, why didn't we think of this before? But thank you for coming up with that so that the young people there are actually kind of pitching in and helping, aren't they?
Absolutely. That program is called the Martin Center, the TMC crew, the Martin Center crew, for the young kids from ages 11 to 15 to help them get more, to take ownership of the center. So it's they'll come in and it's sort of encouraging volunteerism. They volunteer to help clean, serve food. They earn points, where those points can be quarterly changed into a gift card. So they're making some, not a lot of money, but it's enough. But it's really about encouraging them to dig in, take ownership of the center that helps them so much.
Yes.
And
I'm going to just jump in with the therapeutic value behind what Jason has come up with. And this is something that we have identified. We offer a summer group or a summer camp, Trust Camp, which happens once a year. And a couple of years ago, we decided that the teens needed a service project to do a give back to the camp. And we as adults thought it was a really great idea. And then when it came time to do it, we feared that they would say, well, we don't want to work. We're here at camp to have fun.
Yes.
But the value they got out of the contribution and stepping back and saying, I built those steps. I cleaned that brush. I dug out that drainage was the look on their faces was priceless.
I love what you're telling me. This is really interesting because I think, okay, we would look at some kids who maybe have not had some advantages, and you want to really help them and do stuff for them. And you're saying if we do everything for them and not teach them to do a few things for themselves, it's counterproductive. It's
Absolutely.
not, to just teach someone to take and take and take is not good.
And everybody wants to feel that they're contributing.
Yes.
That's a core human value, is to feel that they have contributed and have worth and value and can impact their environment. And the small things, even what Jason is doing at the Martin Center, it may look small on paper, like it's a chore chart, but the therapeutic impact for their lives is tremendous.
That is so good, and that is from an expert right
Yes.
there. That makes so much sense. You've got an interesting job. Do you have to figure out which of these community kids are foster kids or are in need of fostering, and then somehow get them plugged into Pathway? Are you identifying children out there in the community who need fostering?
We're not identifying foster. We are just identifying needs.
Got it.
And we're addressing whatever that need is. If that need is housing, if that need is if there's a teen that is in crisis, we go about addressing that crisis. We get them connected to the crisis center. We get them connected to Refuge of Hope. If they're home, they're out of the home, homeless. I think it's the great thing about being an agency, Pathway, an agency in the Martin Center. We're able to kind of address those firsthand. And so
you hang out with the kids and you get to know the kids,
Yes.
and then you're able to identify a need.
Yes.
What does this child need?
Any referral for foster care would come from a county placement agency.
Got
So
it.
Stark County Job and Family Services, Cuyahoga County Children and Family Services, they're the ones who make a referral for a foster placement.
So there's always a need for foster parents.
absolutely.
What are we looking for? Who makes a good foster parent?
Anyone can be a foster parent.
They always say that.
But it's true. I mean, there isn't a mold for a foster parent. There's no age barrier. There is no gender barrier. There is no race barrier. There's no socioeconomic status barrier. It's a commitment. It is absolutely a full-on commitment. We are so thankful and value our foster parents so tremendously. It's a hard job, and it is a job. It's a 24/7 job. But I think they would also tell you that the reward that they reap from it is often very, very great.
Let's talk about how this happens. A person says, I would love, we're empty nesters. We got a couple of spare bedrooms here. It'd be great to have some kids have a little life in this house again. And so they want to meet with some potential kids, and does the child have a say in who they get to live with, and how does this work?
That would be the ideal. And back in the day, that was part of the process, I understand. Unfortunately, now the referral comes through in a matching way, and so the child has a rating where there are behaviors identified and needs identified and strengths identified, and then that is matched with the same sort of information about available foster parents. So there's lots of criteria that go into it, and then the intake person at our agency will have a communication with the person making the referral, and then they will work to find the most appropriate placement for that child.
You're a This Is Us fan.
I am.
As am I. So that was an interesting interaction that they had where they brought a young girl in, and they already had two girls.
Yes.
And she was very non-communicative at
Yes.
first, and then find out, you just watched those relationships build, and it was just a thing of beauty. But
Yes.
anyway, so how typical was that situation that you're bringing a child in and trying to get them into the flow of family life that you've already got children. Is that something that works out well?
There's nothing typical about any family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to say.
Yes.
That's good to say.
Yes. But every foster child is going to bring their own story, their own experiences, their own life history. And so making the prediction of how they assimilate into a foster home is very challenging. And it also depends on every foster home is different as far as structure and their level of engagement, and if they are a working family or a stay-at-home family. And so all of those dynamics play a part, and you never know for sure until you get the child into that home what that dynamic is going to play out as. But at Pathway, we have foster care case managers, mental health case managers, and therapists. We have direct care mentors who wrap around our families and try very hard to put the very best structure into place to make that family unit as successful as it can be.
You have such a support system in place with continuing training, and
Yes.
You can just go and commiserate with fellow foster families.
Yes.
We had this. Have you had this? How did you deal with this? How do people contact you if they've just been having this tug on their heart? How do they get a hold of you?
They should contact Pat Lott at 330-493-0083, and Pat will get back to them if she's not available in the office at that time and give them some information. The third Tuesday of every month, we have a foster parent orientation or information session. There's no commitment or obligation when you attend. It is simply to gain information. It is a big commitment, and so we want people to go into it with a good understanding of what it is that they're entering into. So Pat Lott is the best place to start.
Give that number one more time, please.
330-493-0083.
What about fostering to adopt?
Yes. Many of our families are foster to adopt families.
And so the child, though, isn't made to feel that they're like auditioning to be a member of that family.
I would hope not. Yes, it's very important that the family connects as a true family unit. And so both ends, there should be no understanding of it being a Disneyland vacation time where everybody's on their best behavior. And the time of the foster to adopt, there's a very long process to make sure that there's not going to be a reunification plan with a biological family that's potential in the future. And so the extended time of working to make sure that the connection and the family unit is solid is very important.
Awesome. We do need to take a break. We'll be back with Jason and with Marcy after these words. You're listening to Our Community.